All right, today is June 12th, 2013, and we are at the Whiffen Singer Educational Center. We're doing a history project, and I am Amy Mal, and I am going to interview
Martin R. Chavez.
And we are doing a project for the local 1932 out of Los Angeles. So thank you for joining me today.
Welcome.
Can you begin by telling me when you were born?
I was born October 2nd, 1942.
And where were you born?
Compton, California, but we lived in Watts, but that was the nearest hospital.
Oh, okay. And do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have. Total, there's 4 of us and 1 sister.
Oh, 3 boys and 1 girl?
No, 4 boys and 1 girl.
4 boys and a girl. Okay.
I'm sorry, there was 5 of us, yeah.
Okay. And, let's see. What did your mom do did she work outside the house?
No, she was a housewife.
That's nice. And what did your father do?
He was a crane operator.
Crane operator? And was he in a union?
I'm sorry?
Was he in a union?
Yes, he was the Steel Workers Union.
Okay. And did he participate a lot in that union? So you knew about it growing up?
He, I think they went on strike. That you're talking about my father. Yeah,
Yes.
he went on strike once.
Oh, okay.
And that's about it.
You don't remember any kind of activities
No,
or him going to
no.
meetings? But you do remember him striking?
Yes.
And did you go like to the picket line with him as
No.
a child or anything? Okay. And when did you start working?
When I got out of the military, out of the U.S. Air Force,
Okay. And what year was that?
1964.
Okay. And who did you go to work for?
Went to work for McDonnell Douglas as an apprentice mechanic, tool and die.
Okay. Did they have a union?
Yes.
So did you join?
There was 2 unions, the IAM and the UAW, but I was on the UAW side of the facility.
Okay. So one side was one was the other. So you didn't really have a choice.
Right.
It's just what you were working. And did you get involved with the union at that time?
Yes, I had to join the union, and then long story is that I got laid off, and I went and found work at Santa Monica, and that was IAM. Became a shop steward in Santa Monica, involved heavily with the union. I was also a trustee, and long story is that they shut it down after we went on strike.
So you went on strike with the
I was on strike for 62 days.
62 days.
And then the strike was over with 3 months. They shut down Santa Monica, and I got transferred to Huntington Beach, IAM. And I was still a shop steward there also.
What was the trade? What did you do for Santa Monica?
It was making, parts for the aircraft, like the radomes for the DC-8 and the DC-10.
Okay. And what was the strike caused from? Why did everybody go on strike?
Oh, had to do with pension.
Oh, was it a change of contract? And
The strike was about the formulation of the pension plan, and was tenacious. Some people wanted to strike, and some people did not. In the end, we won, but they shut the plant down anyway and moved us from one side of town, Santa Monica, 45 miles in the other direction.
oh. And were you doing the same work then in Huntington Beach?
Basically, yes.
Same work. And you were shop steward there?
Yes.
And did you do trustee position as well? Again?
No, just
Just
a shop steward.
Did you have any interesting grievances? Did you have grievances often? Or as a shop steward, what were your duties? What did you do?
Mostly there were attendants for too many times calling in sick, that type of a thing. It was pretty stable. There wasn't anything really bad. Made good money. The pay scales were like labor grade 12. And so, I mean, 15 was as high as you could go. I mean, we were not at the bottom, and we were up in the top, say, 10%.
So that was good.
So that's about it for that.
Mm-hmm. And then where did you go next, or why did you leave there?
Okay, I left there because I was an aircraft mechanic in the service, and I had been going to school, and I picked up my airframe and power plant license, and I was hired by Western Airlines as an A&P mechanic. And from there, Western got bought out by Delta, and I was offered a job in Atlanta, but I'm not from the South, and I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I just had an attitude that I could get a job anywhere. With an A&P ticket, you could, but I didn't want to move.
Yeah.
And I waited about a year and a half, and then I got hired by United Airlines, and I retired from them. And United Airlines, I was not a shop steward, but I was a trustee. I was always going to the executive board meetings, doing various things, so they needed help. I volunteered.
Well, good. And what local was that for
Local
United?
Lodge, 1932.
1932. And how many members did you have?
At one time, we were like 4,600. Today, we have about 2,100.
Really? So how many people would come to a meeting?
It's funny, because no matter whether we were 4,600 or 2,000, it's about 45. Seems to be, it's always the same group.
It does, doesn't it? Always. So were you only trustee? Did you have any other positions?
There's 3 trustees according to the IM contract.
Did you have any other positions for you?
No,
Just being the trustee. And were you shop steward at all for United?
not for United, no.
Okay. Have you attended many classes here at the Whippensinger Education? Which ones
Well,
have you
in
done?
McDonald, excuse me, in the IM, I went to political school here, Placid Harbor, and since then I've gone to this classes that to help out the retirees, training. We opened up an office in our local. I have an office now, or we have an office, and I got all the pamphlets and books and everything else. And between myself and Antoinette and Reggie, we take care of the problems of people trying to fly, passes, refer them to an attorney, workman's comp, those type of things.
Well, that's nice. That's really helpful for the retired community. Good. Did you ever notice when you were working at any one of those places any different treatment of members, whether it's the color of their skin or women? Were you around at that time?
No, because until recently, and I'm talking 2000, 1932 was basically all men. Mechanics were men. We only had, 3 women in all of United out of 19,000 mechanics between us, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and New York.
Wow.
In Chicago, there was only 19,000 mechanics for the whole airline. And there was only 3 women when I started. Today, we now have public contact employees, customer service, reservations. 85% of them are women. So the local has changed radically from being all male bastion to women now. And there's more arguments, petty little things.
Yeah. Is there any interesting stories you want to share? Any petty argument you want to share?
No, not really.
Okay. Let's see. Did you enjoy your training with the political information? Do you
Yes,
like that?
I use it to this day. Recently, well, my brother happens to be, came out of the Department of Labor under Bill Clinton, and he's a campaign manager. And Gil Cedillo is the the first district candidate. He just won his election.
Oh, good.
Of course, I had to volunteer, phone banking, et cetera, et cetera. And I've helped other ones. Laura Richardson's in the 37th Congressional District. She's an IAM union member,
Oh, that's good.
but she just got defeated and got Janice Hahn, who is now my representative. For 90 years in a row. At 1932, I was legislative. And I travel
Yes.
2 or 3 times a year to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So I didn't have time to come up Pleasant Harbor.
All right. So your union membership has taken you on some travels, and have you enjoyed that?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you meet any extraordinary people that you would not have had the opportunity to meet?
One of them is Steve Cook. Steve Cook was a ramper, got interested in the union, got himself elected, and he graduated from college, UCLA or SC, and the IM picked him up as an instructor here at Pleasant Harbor. He did a tour here. He went back as a assistant general chairman or Grand Lodge rep, and he serviced San Francisco, San Diego, LAX, and he was an extraordinary man. He just did everything.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with Charles Metcalf, the instructor here, and I was telling him some of the things, the pictures are on the wall. Steve Cook had like 5 or 6 people that he trusted. If he wanted something, he'd call me inside United. I need to talk to you, Martine. Come on up. And I would go over to the office after work, and he says, what's this I hear about this? What do you hear? And he didn't just take my word for it. He had half a dozen people. Or he heard something, he says, I want you to go back and either deny the charge or tell them it's wrong. We're not doing that. And so we were the eyes and ears of Steve Cook, because he's only one man, and United is big in LA. And I learned a lot from him. He passed away at a very young age.
Really?
And in the end, we decided we named the Stephen Old Cook Local Lodge 1932. Like that.
That's nice. So he really meant a lot to you.
Yes, he does. He meant a lot to everybody at the local.
What was it about him that was so special?
He treated everybody with as an equal. Have an even temper. Did a lot of things. I was in Washington, D.C., and I got a phone call when I got home. Some guy, my mother says, some guy by the name of Steve Cook called. He says, when you go back to work Monday, he says he wants you in uniform, whatever that means. He says, you're going to Los Angeles. He said, he'll explain when I get there. Okay. Showed up Monday morning, and they told me, he says, go down and catch the bus. Steve Cook was there marshaling the troops. We took 200 people from United Airlines to demonstrate at a city council meeting in Los Angeles City Council. We were trying to build, United Airlines was trying to build a cargo facility. And our cargo facility was old, dilapidated. We outgrew it. Mail, shipping packages was getting soaked when it rained. It doesn't rain that often, but when it did, it ruined the packages. And of course, the insurance paid. And the city council was playing politics, and we lost it at the hearing. And afterwards, Steve Cook and I went to my management, and we told them the results, and they wanted the IAM to help out United Airlines. Steve Cook says, well, that's why I got Martine here. He's our legislative guy. And he says, the thing that I had to do was I had 30 days to convince the city council that because it was going to go for confirmation, but we have to turn them around. So I had to put a plan together. That's what I learned here at Pleasant Harbor. I had to call all 15 council members and convince them that they had to rethink their position, gave them the reasons why. They gave me 2 or 3 helpers, and we did phone banking to the city council members. I took in delegations from their district. United Airlines and the IM gave me the names of the employees that lived in the council district. I contacted them and says, I can get you a half a day off. ate lunch, and I took him down. And I made the presentation, and these people were in his district, and they heard enough of it. And eventually, we had the meeting. We put 200 people in, paid lunch, and we won.
That's fantastic.
In the end, we won, and the company was grateful. They built the cargo facility, and then they hosted the IM. Of course, I was up front with Steve, and he got up and spoke. He says, "This is what you do when labor and management get together. Instead of fighting like cats and dogs, you guys have been working on it for 3 to 4 years, and you couldn't do it, and you were about to be completely shut off until you came to the union, and it only took us 30 days. I says, we have here's one of them, Martin Chavez. You know, I hate to brag about myself, but they were the ones that threw a party. United threw it for us, and we brought it in half a dozen people. And for a while there, I could do no wrong at United.
Really?
They even flew me to Washington D.C. and not space available like when I did work for the IM. It was positive space seats. I stayed in the Pentagon building.
Really?
And we visited members of Congress, and all of a sudden doors were open. They were closed to the IM when I was still IM, but when I went as an IM person, some members of Congress just wouldn't see me at all. But when I went with United, I went into, I hate to tell you, but there were Republicans, and all of a sudden I'm walking into these Republican offices where they were never open to me before. And so I did that a couple of trips.
That's exciting.
Yes, it was at times. Like I said, I could do no wrong. And eventually there was a change in management, and I decided to leave. So I went out on a medical.
Okay. And what year was that you went out?
2003.
Okay. That is exciting. You got to meet a lot of different congressmen then? Was any one of them strike you as, sounds like as spectacular as Steve Cook was?
Well, Juanita McDonald was my representative. She had her chief of staff give me a personal tour of the statuary row inside the Capitol.
Wow.
I had to be escorted in, and they treated me quite well. She knew who I was. She knew I worked for United, and the door opened for me. It was interesting, and I said, I'll never forget those days.
Yeah, I can see why. That's great. During your time with United, did you guys strike at any time? Were you
not when I was there?
Not when you were there. Did you participate in any other strikes?
Only the IAM strike in Santa Monica.
Okay. Have you supported any other pickets or anything anywhere around the area?
Yes.
And what would those be?
There's other locals that called out because I was legislative. And this is what I do. If I had a Saturday open and somebody was organizing a car dealership, Martin Chavez, I'd show up with half a dozen of my retirees. And we just march around for half an hour, do what we could, yell and scream. Other people were on strike. We would, we would help out. Matt Buchanan was in California at the time. Every time I went to Sacramento, we walked somebody's picket duty. Always, every time I went there was somebody was on strike. There were small groups, but it wasn't big like thousands at United. Maybe a small auto shop with 35 mechanics, and they wanted a contract, and Matt McKinnon showed up. I was part of that, and we marched picket duty. I marched in a lot of picket lines, not mine at United, but for other companies helping the IM and other people. Seems to me the story of my life. I've done more on the outside than at United. But.
And so were you involved in organizing any work groups?
Not really. I went out and helped out. When the IM came in and they wanted, Reggie helped out a lot. He would call me, he says, we're going to Burbank, we're going here, we're going over there. Yeah, I did that.
Did you
But as a
enjoy-
volunteer, you don't get paid.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that part of it as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
because you learn a lot. You learn what the other side's doing.
Mm-hmm. Is while you were doing all that work, did it ever occur to you to go further, say to be a district lodge rep or anything like that?
No,
You didn't
No.
want to. Didn't want to go there.
they want to go there. I didn't even want to be a lead. You only get paid $1 an hour more to babysit 11 grown men.
Yeah.
It's not worth $1 more.
Yeah.
And so I had no intention of going up. I mean, I was a mechanic. I enjoyed it. I like working with my hands. I ran engines, taxied airplanes. The company let me play with multi-million-dollar computers, run multi-million-dollar engines. How much more do you want?
Right. Right. And in 2003, did you retire or did you leave for another reason?
2003, I retired. And it was medical. But I retired because I had the time.
Oh, that's good. So you just went on regular retirement. Was anything happening with United at that time that it made it especially a good time to get out?
There's a change in management. And there's a lot of turmoil. And there is still a lot of turmoil going on.
Is there?
The airlines are shrinking, and United just this year bought out Continental. And they, to this date, they haven't merged the seniority rosters yet.
And are the Continental people union members yet?
I'm sorry?
Are the Continental people union members as well?
Well, they may come into our local, but we have to have an election. They got to have a contract first. And right now, there's no federal mediator available.
Okay.
So it's contract has been extended and extended and extended. And we won't know until sometime next year. So between now and next year, they got to come up with a contract. We're in negotiations now. There's other airlines also. They're in negotiation. They're all stalling. They want to see which way the big boys are going to go, and then everybody follows suit.
Do you think it's frustrating that part of the Railway Act is that you can't strike, that
Right.
you can't make that contract happen?
Right.
Is that frustrating to you?
I understand what that is, but again, that's how they punish us. I mean, they make us meet, and they won't release us. They'll never give us a final offer. And then under the IM rules, Steve Cook always explained it. You got to give us strike authorization, and we have to explain it to the membership that we got to have 85%, because the company's not going to believe it unless it's 85 or more. And finally, when they come back and they say this is the last offer, and then we take another strike vote. Now that's the real strike vote. We either strike or we accept.
And where are they right now?
We haven't even started the first one.
Really?
They're just jawboning.
Yeah.
Neither side is going anywhere.
Let's see. So when you worked for United, did you travel a lot? Just in general? Did you use your benefits and go places?
Oh, yes, I did travel.
Yeah.
I've been to Israel,
Okay.
visit Jerusalem, the Dead Sea. I've been to Rome twice. Been to Venice, Florence, obviously the Vatican. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to the Philippines. Mexico a dozen times. Yeah, I traveled.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What do you think was your favorite?
I'm sorry?
What's your favorite place?
Everybody asks me that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's apples and
I didn't
oranges.
think so.
It's apples and oranges. You can't say, somebody says, what's between, say, Jerusalem and Rome? which one is better?
Right.
It's apples and oranges. You can't add them.
So what did you enjoy about Jerusalem?
It's like Jerusalem is like when Jesus Christ was around. I mean, you can see the old city. You can see the rest of it, but it's modern. But when you're in Jerusalem itself, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Way of the Cross, the Muslim section, the Christian section, I mean, the I call them flea markets. They still have goats hanging by their hind legs, and they just cut it up, wrap it in paper, and off they go.
Wow.
And they close down on the Sabbath, and if you're in a restaurant, they'll bring you your coffee, the hot water, but they can't make it for you. So you put the filter on top of the cup and the water over it, and you make your own coffee.
Really?
That's how they get away with their Sabbath laws. They don't even turn on the electric switch because they got a timer that turns on the electric switch and turns on the TV, because if you're an Orthodox Jew, you can't do any work
Oh, okay.
on Friday night to Saturday. But if you're home and you set the timer the day before and it goes on, you got the TV channel set, or your set of movies, or you're ready to go.
Wow, that's neat.
That's how it is in Jerusalem. But
Wow.
they're honoring their religion.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then how about Rome? What was special about Rome?
It's the Vatican. To know how the Vatican, the statues, the artwork, it is fantastic. Obviously, because I'm Catholic, I feel that much of a connection. Although there's a lot of the church makes a lot of mistakes, but got to remember they're men. They're not Jesus Christ. They're not gods. So they made a lot of mistakes, and the point is that's the reason, supposedly, that's why we're here. We study history so we can learn from the mistakes that were made in the past. Hopefully we don't make them in the future. I learned that here at the school too.
That's neat. Have you seen the Pope? Was the Pope out when you were there?
He was there, and I heard Mass. And it's just,
Yeah.
the thing about it is, it was in Latin. And here in the United States, everything has gone to the vernacular. If you're in Mexico, it's Spanish. If you're in Germany, it's in German. And Italian, the Italian. But it's still Latin in Rome. In the United States, it's English. And it's just, because I grew up as an altar boy, I learned the Latin by rote, because I so many masses. You know that it's the Lord's Prayer, because you've said it so many times, that you actually learn a language just by reading it. And of course, you have right next to it is the English version, or if it's Spanish, it's Spanish. You go right back and forth. So I learned it that way, and then they went to the vernacular in the United States, English, and now some of the churches are doing it in Latin again. Although a lot of people will argue that, well, it's in Latin and I don't understand it. Well, I could say it in English, but you still don't understand it.
Could be. Be likely. Let's see. So now that you're retired, you're working closely with your local and reaching, like doing outreach to your neighborhoods. Are
Yes.
you enjoying that?
Yes, and I'm also, now that I got time for all this, I belong to the VFW, the American Legion. We help out the soldiers. This coming November at the VFW, it's a big post, and we sponsor the ROTC. There is bingo for the ladies. They got dance lessons, and it's just I'm involved with retirees, and from the union, and we even have them from our local that could belong to the VFW. So yeah, a lot of the people that I see at my union local retirement club is also part of the VFW. It's only 4 blocks away.
So you see a big need for that community activity and
Yes.
assistance. And are you getting good support from your local? Are there a lot of retirees that are participating? Or how
No.
many? No.
No, the other reason that I participated at the local is because when you see people come in wheelchairs and walkers, they can barely walk. I mean, they can't help themselves. And they were co-workers with me. So what am I supposed to do? Turn my back on them?
Right.
So we do that. And the same thing goes with the VFW and the American Legion. It's a camaraderie between ex-soldiers, ex-airmen, Navy Marine Corps. There's always that vibrato from every service, but it's toned down when you get down to, I'm 70 years old. They tone it down because they understood what it's like. It's the people on the outside that were never in the service that do not know what it's like.
With the besides a change of management in that, do you see a difference between union members when you were active and the union members now?
Well, I've said this from a long time ago, and I find it's still the same thing. It's the younger members, they don't care anything. I was not that way. I cared about the retirement because I was going to retire someday. But the young people don't care about retirement because they say, oh, I don't know that I'm going to make it, or I'm going to live that long. They happen to be true. Because everybody that's young right now is not going to make it to 70 years old. It's true.
Yeah.
You die, have accidents, etc. I mean, the odds are against you. And to make it to my age, it's extraordinary. When you retire, I think the first 2 years, drop off left and right. And if you can get through that, then you got it not made, but it's a lot easier. But a lot of these people that are 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, they're not going to make it. And they don't care. All they care is about money right now. And I understand why. I mean, some of them are married, want to raise a family, they got responsibilities. Some of them don't know how to manage money. Some of them will never learn how to manage money. And retirees care because if you made it this far, you own a home or you live in an apartment or a condo, but that's your personal choice. But retirees care because they say, I have a home. And they care a lot about taxes because once I retire, there's no more raises for me. Social Security is set on whatever I made. But the inflation is eating us up. And Congress knows it, but they don't want to do anything about it. And when I was always giving speeches about members of Congress, write your congressman. I have the IAM book. I looked up all the information, put it on the sheet, and handed it out. I gave them the website. 50% of the people at our local do not have computers. I'm not very good at it. I mean, I can operate one. I know how to find things and do the research on it, but I'm slow because I was a mechanic. I mean, it's not something that, I wasn't a secretary. I don't do all this stuff. But the retirees that we have are that way. Someone says, oh, I'm too old. I don't understand it. They won't even try. But we do it anyway. Myself, Reggie, and two other people, we're always bringing stuff in. Talking about the politics, election time. I was one of the guys that made a bylaw change that if union meetings, we meet on a Tuesday. If there's an election on a Tuesday, we move the meeting date so that we can have people don't have an excuse not to go vote. They'll say, "Well, I had to go vote. I had to go to the local lodge meeting. I don't have time to vote." We did that on purpose. I was one of the guys. I make the motion, someone else took it, but we got it passed. We got a bylaw proposal change, and it's in our bylaws at Local Lodge 1932. That on election day, you move the local lodge meeting, give them 30 days notice, move it one day or back. I don't care as long as that day, election day is open. No excuses for not voting.
That's interesting. That was good. Let's see, I asked you those. Let's see. Have you participated in any other union-sponsored activities? If they're food drives or the guide dogs or any of those?
I've been to Las Vegas for guide dogs.
Have you, for the dinner or the
Yes,
other?
the dinner.
Yeah. Did you ride on the hogs for dogs or do the golfing?
No, I don't play golf, but I just go to the dinners, and we raise money for guide dogs. When I was active, at the time, local lodge presidents were more involved in it, and I was there, so we always did things like that. We even had a guide dog come into the local because there was people on the executive board that didn't want to donate money to guide dogs. We didn't see any reason for it. They were just against helping people. So local lodge president says, we're going to have a guest next month, and he didn't tell them. We have a young lady, customer service person, that's partially blind, works at United, and we went and got her and came in with her dog.
Really?
And put the dog up on the table, and they explained why we wanted to vote money out of our treasury to make a donation of $1,000 to guide dogs. And we brought a speaker from the guide dogs telling us how the dogs are trained. And right after that, they left, pulled the motion on the floor, and we won.
Great.
The people that were against it, they just put their hands across their chest and just solved. You have to go around them. If I can't go through you, I go over you, under you, to the right or to the left, but we're going to do it. Yeah, we had guide dogs at our local. Each made an appearance. And obviously I went to Sacramento and we did the same thing here.
Is the guide dog, they're in Sylmar, California. Is that
Yes.
close to you?
Yes.
How far? Oh, is it close?
Yes.
So have you been to their facility?
No, I haven't, but I know where it's. I know where Selmar is. I just never visited the facility.
They have an open house. They may have had it this past weekend, so you'll have to check next year and go. Do you think you'll attend the dinner this year? The guide dog dinner this year?
Yes.
You're going to come again? Do you come as your local or just individually?
Just individually.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. Does anyone else from your local come?
Maybe one or two more.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, if the local was going to attend and buy a table, that means they got to spend money. And if it's not for them, they're not going to do it. I'm sorry to be talking negative about our executive board, but you don't want me to lie, do you?
No?
That's the way it is.
Yeah. Have you ever had anything in your local happen that may be negative? Like any missing funds or things that...
Yes.
Yeah?
And it was covered up, and they don't want to talk about it.
And how did they discover it?
$40,000 was missing from the bank. And the bank called, and they went down and looked at it and found out that old checks had been cashed in and around LA for the tune of $40,000.
Wow.
And whoever was doing this, they clammed up, and of course we proved that these checks were out of balance. They were out of sequence, probably maybe 7 years ago.
Oh.
Somebody had them, and they waited 7 or 8, 9 years, the same bank account, and they cashed them all the way around, $40,000 bucks.
Wow.
And we got our money back because we proved it was fraud. But that's about it. People just don't want to talk about it.
What do you think would be a good safeguard so that wouldn't happen in the future?
Okay. My thing is, what do you call it? Audits every 90 days.
Every 90 days, that would be good.
Long time ago, I heard about this, but I don't have any specific information. we had the same thing happen. There was missing funds, and the guys that I talked to, they passed away. They're not around. They were saying that for about 2 years, there was every 90 days, there was an audit committee. I mean, everything had to be documented. That's the way it's supposed to be. Today, it's lax. So if we had more audits, I don't understand why. Well, but with computers, all that should be able to be solved with what we have now. Everything goes into the computer, the checks generated, all that kind of stuff, and then you have area auditors now. But again, nobody knows anything about them. I know about it because I was on the executive board. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know anything about the area auditors. They don't even answer me. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
If you do an area audit, he should be able to come to the local lodge and explain anything that he found. I mean, he's never done that. None of them do. So
That's a good suggestion. Also, maybe changing your bank more often. That way you
when
couldn't hold checks.
that incident happened, we were at Bank of America, and we were at B of A, but now we're at Chase. So they did switch banks. But again, that's part of the problem with that is with the money that we have. When I was there, 4,600 union members in our account. We had $4,959. I'm sorry. Yes, 49,000.
49,000.
Almost a $500,000. Today we have, I'll tell it right on the mic, we have less than 1,000, less than 100,000.
Really?
So it's just the way they're overspending. You don't send 18 delegates, which is the maximum you can spend, to convention and pay everything. It just, you can't be doing that, but they're doing it. When we had all that money, we could afford that. Today, we're less than half of what we used to be, and they're still spending it. But that's what the executive board and the membership, they yell and scream from the floor. Nobody, I mean, you had a localized president says, motion out of order, don't like it, complain to the international. I'm telling you, we can't spend it. We don't have the money. And if we do, we're not going to have it very long.
Right.
Someone has to learn how to use that gavel they got.
Yeah.
And they don't, because they're trying to please the people. That's what's wrong with the local. So that's where we're at right now.
That's dangerous. Yeah, that's where you need a little bit budget, so you can't spend more than.
That's another thing they don't do. Our local Dutch, you need to have a budget from the beginning of the year. The IM does it here. You do it in December. And each department here, including Charlie, gets a budget. He knows how to spend the money. And you got to stay within that system. But no, over there is, well, certain people hold the purse strings. It's either yes or no, but the answer to nobody. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's why I've learned a lot. I know I'm not going to mention names. There's people here, they got $1 million in one account and almost $1 million in the other. So and there are only 400 people.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know, unless they have a giant dues structure or something. Yeah, it's hard to recover from a loss like that. Now, I'm sure with the political stuff that some states are right-to-work states, where they're not closed shops. And how do you feel about that someone could possibly negotiate a fantastic contract and work next to some guy that doesn't
That's why in
participate?
California we don't have a right-to-work state. It's a closed shop. And I've been in the IM a long time, and we did all this stuff where I go back and argue with them. But in California, we don't have a problem. In LA, we don't have a problem. But that's California. I mean, I'm not picking on Nevada or Arizona or Texas. or Georgia, or even Maryland. They're right-to-work states. And I've been to all these states. You ask the waitresses in the restaurant how much do you make. Can't believe what they make and the way the structure is. But union members all the time make more money per trade more than a right-to-work state. So it definitely it pays off to belong to a union. I understand how they working side by side and they get the same amount of money as the person that's union. The guy that's not union doesn't pay the union dues, makes the same amount of money. It's not fair. But that's, to me, that's just one person robbing the other, your own fellow worker. You work side by side, do the same work. One pays union dues, the other one doesn't. And you have a wage, and they're identical. Doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. And then what do you think about like the people that that do pay their dues, and like in California you have a closed shop so everyone pays their dues, but all they do is complain about it.
That's right. And you can't change their mind. They're dead set. We had what do you call it? Conscientious or objector status. And Steve Cook was always talking to them, and they just pay the minimum, nothing to the local, nothing to MMPL. But I try to explain to them that contract time comes, that money's put aside, and that's the first money we're going to spend.
Well, are there any other stories that you have that you want to share, or anything that you think that I forgot to ask you?
No, I think that's about it. It covers it pretty much. We could go on for hours and hours and hours, but I want to be something that is pertinent, and that covers basically with the people we have. I'm going to do probably 2 more interviews in Las Vegas, and maybe probably one here. We have these different airlines that belong to us. In 1932 now, it's an amalgamated local. I've already talked to him here. Richard Suarez is out of Northwest because they don't exist anymore. They went Delta. But Richard Suarez still pays union dues in local 1932. So it's only fair that he get an interview.
That'd be fantastic.
And Felix Seco and Danny Mosello. Mosello was a localized president. And he used to lobby Congress too. And only because they were trying to take away the passes at United. They wanted us to pay, what do you call it, our share of the taxes. And he says no. And because he was localized president, he says, I'm going. And he took a delegation. We paid the local, it was right before I got there, when Ronald Reagan was there. And he wanted to do that. And we won. We restructured it, but it wasn't what they wanted. To this day, at United, I have unlimited passes in coach, and it runs me like $25 if I want to go first class, and it's open.
$25 for first class?
Yeah, all the way across the United States.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, Danny Mosello didn't think it was right, and he was localized president, and he got half of his e-board. We took people, period. Came to Washington, D.C. when the IM called for it. And he still talks about it this day.
Really?
Yeah.
That'll be a good interview.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. And there was something else you said. Oh, that you're Amalgamated Lodge. So who else is in your lodge with you?
It's right here in the book. We have, where is it? Okay, we have United Airlines, Southwest, Alaska, and U.S. Air.
Okay.
Now, on paper, they claim we have Philippines and Hawaiian, but I've never seen anybody. So that's who we have up there. There's the book, Alaska Airlines, U.S. Airways, Southwest, and United.
Do you still attend the regular meeting?
I'm sorry?
Do you still attend the regular meetings?
No.
For the local? Okay.
Well, one of the things I got tired of, it's the same old people making the same old speeches.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, I'm not going to mention names, but it's a young lady, whatever she does, she says, well, I'm allowed to speak for 5 minutes, and I'm going to get my 5 minutes every month. No matter whether she has something to say. Could only take you a minute and a half or two to explain what you want, or what you feel, and then make your point and get off the dais. No, she's got 5 minutes, and she will just go on and on. She's redundant. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get tired of it. They try to correct her to no avail. I mean, she said, no, I got my 5 minutes. I'm going to speak. And after all these years, year after year after year after year, I mean, she doesn't have that much to report. But it makes her feel important. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why should I attend a meeting when I know all this already? It doesn't pertain to retirees. Mm-hmm. So why would I want to go listen to the same old stuff? There's nothing new, petty stuff, and half the time they're wrong. I mean, so when I spoke, it was I didn't speak every meeting, but if I had something to say, I may set my 2 cents. It was political. Mm-hmm. Make my point, got off, asked for volunteers, sign a petition to Congress, do what we had to do. That's it. Mm-hmm. I didn't go on and on. But I attended everything. Mm-hmm.
Now that you have those other airlines, are any of those airlines on the board, or is it still a United employee board?
Okay, this one, he just got sworn in. He's from Southwest. He's Afro-American. His name is Jeff. He's the first Afro-American we have at Local Lodge 1932 that is a Local Lodge president.
Oh, and he's the president. Wow.
Just got elected.
So that's historical.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
And I'm going to interview him too.
Fantastic. Do you have any ladies on the board?
Yes. Like I said, when I was there was no women. Mm-hmm. Because it was all mechanics and ramp. And then when customer service came in 2000, 2001, then I knew it was going to happen, and we actually planned for it. We invited them. Mm-hmm. But they went to their head. Now they wanted all women, all females on the executive board.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they call equality.
Yeah. Okay. That's just doing the opposite,
Right,
all males, all females. So yeah, that's a curious thing happening in your local. Let's see. I guess that's it then. I thought I had something else. Well, it sounds like you have a good plan then for your history. You've got some plan for interviews.
I'm planning to do a timeline. Mm-hmm. And when the different airlines came in, originally there was United Airlines, TWA, and Flying Tigers. Both of those airlines are gone. Mm-hmm. We have United, but then after that, they started folding the districts. District air transport locals are 141, 142, and 143. Mm-hmm. So they got small. They're being gobbled up, and they move them over to us. Now we were always amalgamated, but we functioned like we weren't. Mm-hmm. That's because we were 900-pound giant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gorilla.
The majority, yeah. Yeah. So where will you put your information? Are you going to have a display or?
We want to do a storybook, and I have plans for asking. It's our building, we paid for it, and we have 2 stories, and everything goes on the bottom, and upstairs there's enough space for 3 offices. We could be renting out 2 of them. I've already spoken to the local lodge president, the new one, about possibility of doing that, but he runs resistance on the executive board because they don't want to do it. It's dumb. We could be making $1,500-$1,600 a month that goes into the building. I mean, we have ceiling panels that are falling. We have water problems with the plumbing. It's just the thing, and I'm glad we're doing this, because a lot of people complain that the floor is pitched, and it's because Local Lodge 1932 one time was a mortuary. Now you know why the floor is pitched. So it was sold as a mortuary. I already did the research. Real estate agent up the street. I'm not going to advertise for him, but he had a buyer. That's what buyers do. He bought building, renovated it, fixed it up, and sold it to Steve Cook and Willie McReynolds. The other people from Tigers, which I don't know, and we bought it together, and so it's our building.
That's great.
So, like I said, and then everybody else dropped out, and Willie, the TWA group had a choice: join ours, or it's just a matter of courtesy, being nice to people. Say, well, you got your group, the retirees. We give them a stipend every month, just like they do to United. He says, but when you're gone, you're gone. There'll be no more.
So you do different stipends for each retiree group, or are you one retiree group?
We wanted them to be with us, but they didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
So he wants to meet separately.
That's the TWA group?
TWA, right. There's only 19 of them. I mean, you can't have any more retirees. They're gone. That's it. They died. There's no more TWA.
That's curious.
It went to American.
Yeah.
And they're the people that, if they had it, most of them are gone because they went to the bottom of the seniority list. Here comes a layoff, or whatever it is. They're never going to make it. So can't do anything about it.
What do you see for the future of the union? Do you think it's going to get stronger or weaker?
I think it's weaker. You can't get these people to think strategically. It's always immediate. And I'm trying to say that I knew this was going to happen, but that's me. But when I talk to these young people, it's right now, instant gratification. They don't think about anything in the future. They just don't get the picture. It's always a matter of communication. I think I can blame my own union, the IAM, because I think we need to do more training. Only thing that happens is we have a program here at Placid Harbor. It's called Train the Trainer. Well, they come, train the trainer, and then the trainer's supposed to go back and train them. It doesn't happen. I know so many, send me to school. They just want to go 1 week vacation in Placid Harbor. They come back, throw hands up in the air. They don't do nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's why, I said, I never went through that. That's not what I do. But I think that's wrong. I think the concept was correct in Train the Trainer, but the execution is not there. How do you change it? Don't know.
It depends on who you send to the class. Some people can take the lead and go do it, and other people are, like you said, just getting a vacation. So, and then one other thing, because you were so political and did all that as the conductor sentinel, that sort of no conductor sentinel.
I'm sorry?
Were you a conductor sentinel?
No,
you just did the political and did that. Has someone followed in your footsteps?
No.
All right.
We send people there, but they don't come back and talk to the membership at a union meeting. I was at United. They tolerated it because I was walking with flyers. I went to every single what do you call it, rest area for everybody was at. And at lunchtime, it was my time. So I passed out flyers. I put them up on bulletin boards. I stood outside the gates at United Airlines and handed out flyers. You don't see anybody doing that now. They said, who, me? Yeah, you. But, they go to school and have one good time down here. Boy, I think you should do it in the winter.
Nice. Ooh. Any other interesting stories from work or union? Anything else that you participated in?
No, it's just, I know we're shrinking. And I don't see anything turning around. It's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the defined pension plan, they're almost all gone. What I'm hearing is 401ks and matching funds. There's stuff out there that they got it figured out on the other side, and our people just don't care.
Yeah.
Defined pension plans are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one, and then United Airlines, after I retired, went to bankruptcy,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost $300 off my pension at United
Per month?
a month.
Wow.
A lot of guys did that.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing we could do about it. Everybody's, oh, it's going to go to the PBGC, pension security thing. And he says, they're going to protect us. No, they're not. They're there for management. They're there for, bankruptcy court is not there to help us. It's to help the companies get back on their feet and they don't go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Strengthen the bottom line. That's all they do. It's not a good thing with the PBGC to take over. But it's the way things are. You can see it coming because the pension plans, they don't keep them up to date. They start falling behind and behind and behind and behind. At United, we knew it was coming 2 pension plans before that.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody listened, or the regulators just didn't force United to pay up. United always said, well, we have this problem, we have that problem, we'll do it, make it up. And they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. Then all of a sudden, now we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to the PBGC. PBGC could have stopped all that. They're all like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than that, that's about it. I don't see it getting stronger. Those are the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
People are still fighting Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it's affordable health care, but they call it Obamacare. But I hear all sorts of stories how there's to be some changes,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be willing to do something. So, well, thank you for your interview. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.